If you're a woman over 50 and you've noticed more hair in your brush, on your pillow, or thinning around the part line, I want you to pause and stay with me for a moment. Because what's happening to your hair right now is not random, and it's not something you have to quietly accept as just aging. In many cases, it's your body responding to very specific signals, especially signals coming from what you eat every single day. What surprises most women is this: some foods that are considered healthy can actually support hair regrowth after 50, while other foods that look harmless on the surface can quietly increase hair fall. Nuts are a perfect example. A few types can nourish hair follicles and strengthen regrowth, while others, when eaten too often or at the wrong time, can work against you. Now, before we go any further, let me be clear. Hair changes as after 50 are not a failure of willpower, beauty routines, or genetics alone. They are deeply connected to internal health shifts that happen in both women and men after midlife. Hormones change. Nutrient absorption slows. Blood circulation becomes less efficient. Inflammation rises more easily. And hair follicles are extremely sensitive to all of this. Even though today we're focusing on women over 50, many of these challenges are shared across both women's and men's health after 50. Reduced protein utilization, mineral deficiencies, chronic stress, poor sleep, and unstable blood sugar affect everyone. The difference is that women often feel these changes more sharply at the scalp because hair density and growth cycles are closely tied to hormonal balance. Hair follicles are living tissue. They require oxygen, steady blood flow, healthy fats, minerals, and calm hormonal signals to stay in growth mode. When the body senses stress or imbalance, hair growth is one of the first processes to slow down, not because it's unimportant, but because the body is prioritizing survival over appearance. This is why topical products alone rarely solve the problem. Shampoos, oils, and treatments can help with scalp comfort, but they don't address the internal environment that determines whether hair grows or sheds. That environment is shaped daily by food choices, timing, stress levels, and sleep. After 50, the body becomes much less forgiving of small, repeated mistakes. Skipping meals, eating the wrong snacks, overdoing certain healthy foods, or eating nutrient-dense foods at the wrong time of day can all send mixed signals to the body. Over time, those mixed signals show up as thinning hair. Nuts are especially interesting because they're dense in fats, minerals, and calories. In the right amount, they can be powerful allies for hair health. In the wrong amount or the wrong type, they can increase inflammation, disrupt digestion, or interfere with mineral balance. Most women are never told this. Many women come to me saying, "I eat healthy, but my hair keeps falling." When we look closer, breakfast is rushed or skipped, lunch is light, and then nuts are eaten late in the day as a snack. That timing matters more than people realize. The body processes fats, minerals, and energy very differently in the morning versus the evening, especially after 50. There's also the issue of absorption. As we age, stomach acid and digestive enzymes decline. This means even nutritious foods may not be fully broken down and delivered where they're needed. Hair follicles don't just need nutrients present in the diet, they need those nutrients delivered efficiently through the bloodstream. Stress plays a huge role here as well. Chronic stress tightens blood vessels and raises hormones that push hair follicles into a resting phase. Many women in their 50s are juggling family responsibilities, work transitions, caregiving, and health concerns all at once. The body feels that pressure even if the mind tries to push through it. Sleep changes after 50 also affect hair. Growth and repair hormones are released during deep sleep. When sleep is fragmented or inconsistent, hair growth cycles suffer. This is one reason hair thinning often accelerates during periods of poor sleep or emotional strain. In this series, I'm going to walk you through 4 specific nuts that can support hair regrowth in women over 50 when eaten correctly, and 4 that often increase hair fall when overused or mistimed. I'll explain why this happens in simple terms without fear or confusion, and show you how small adjustments can make a noticeable difference. Today, in this first part, I want you to understand the foundation. Hair health after 50 is not about doing more. It's about doing things in a way that works with your changing physiology instead of against it. Timing, balance, and consistency matter more now than they did in your 30s or 40s. In the next part, I'll start breaking down the first group of nuts that actively support hair regrowth and why they're especially helpful for women navigating midlife changes. For now, remember this: your hair is not betraying you. It's communicating with you. And once you learn how to listen, you can respond in a way that supports both your hair and your overall health. Stay with me. We'll take this step by step. Let's continue. Now that you understand why hair changes after 50 are driven by internal signals and not just age, I want to talk about the first group of nuts that can genuinely support hair regrowth in women over 50. These are nuts that nourish the scalp, support circulation, and provide the raw materials hair follicles need to stay in growth mode. The first nut I want to mention is almonds. Almonds are rich in vitamin E, magnesium, and healthy fats. Vitamin E supports circulation at the scalp level, helping oxygen and nutrients reach hair follicles more efficiently. After 50, circulation naturally slows, and this alone can shorten the hair growth phase. Almonds help counter that process when eaten in moderation. Magnesium is another key reason almonds matter. Many women over 50 are low in magnesium without realizing it. Low magnesium increases stress sensitivity and inflammation, both of which accelerate hair shedding. A small handful of almonds earlier in the day can help calm the nervous system and support steadier hair growth signals. Next are walnuts. Walnuts stand out because they contain omega-3 fatty acids and trace minerals that support scalp hydration and follicle structure. Hair follicles rely on healthy fats to maintain flexibility and strength. When fats are too low or poorly balanced, hair becomes dry, brittle, and more prone to shedding. Walnuts also support brain health and stress regulation. Chronic mental stress sends chemical signals that push hair follicles into a resting phase. By supporting nervous system balance, walnuts indirectly protect hair growth cycles. The third nut is Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts are extremely rich in selenium, a mineral that plays a critical role in thyroid function. The thyroid influences hair growth more than most people realize. Even mild imbalances can lead to diffuse hair thinning in women over 50. However, this is where precision matters. Brazil nuts are powerful, but they should be eaten sparingly. 1 or 2 nuts a few times per week is enough. More than that can actually disrupt mineral balance and work against hair health. When used correctly, they can be very supportive. The fourth nut is pistachios. Pistachios provide a mix of protein, healthy fats, and B vitamins that support hair structure and energy production at the follicle level. They also contain antioxidants that help reduce inflammation, which is especially important after 50. What makes pistachios helpful is their balance. They don't overwhelm the digestive system, and they pair well with other foods. This makes them easier for aging digestion to handle. Now, let's talk about timing, because this is where many women unknowingly sabotage the benefits. Nuts are best eaten earlier in the day, ideally with breakfast or lunch. This is when the body is most capable of processing fats and minerals efficiently. Eating nuts late in the evening, especially as a large snack, can disrupt digestion, raise inflammation overnight, and interfere with sleep. Poor sleep, in turn, increases hair shedding. Pairing nuts with protein and fiber improves absorption and stabilizes blood sugar. For example, a small portion of almonds with breakfast, or walnuts added to a midday meal, works far better than eating nuts alone while stressed or distracted. Portion size matters. Nuts are nutrient-dense, but more is not better. A small handful is enough. Overeating nuts can slow digestion, interfere with mineral absorption, and increase inflammation in sensitive individuals. Hydration also affects how well nuts support hair health. Nuts require adequate fluid to be digested properly. Mild dehydration, which is very common after 50, makes nuts harder to process and can cause bloating or discomfort. Drinking water earlier in the day helps prevent this. One more thing I want to mention is consistency. Eating supportive nuts occasionally will not override daily stress, poor sleep, or skipped meals. But when these nuts are included regularly, in the right amounts and at the right time, they help rebuild the internal environment hair follicles depend on. In the next part, I'll explain the 4 nuts that commonly increase hair fall in women over 50, why they cause problems, and how to avoid making well-intentioned mistakes that quietly worsen thinning. Stay with me. Understanding what to limit is just as important as knowing what to include. Let's keep going. Now that you know which nuts can support hair regrowth after 50, it's just as important to understand the other side of the picture. Because some nuts, despite being labeled as healthy, can quietly increase hair fall in women over 50 when eaten too often in large amounts or at the wrong time. This is where a lot of confusion comes from and where many women unknowingly work against their own hair goals. The first one to be careful with is peanuts. Peanuts are technically legumes, not true nuts, and they behave very differently in the body. They are high in omega-6 fats, which are not harmful on their own, but when consumed in excess, they can increase inflammation. After 50, the body becomes much more sensitive to inflammatory signals. Chronic, low-grade inflammation shortens the hair growth phase and increases shedding. Another issue with peanuts is digestion. Many women over 50 don't digest them well, even if they don't notice obvious symptoms. Poor digestion means nutrients don't get absorbed properly, and the immune system stays slightly activated. Hair follicles interpret this as stress. Next are cashews. Cashews are often eaten in large quantities because they're soft and easy to snack on. The problem is that they are high in certain compounds that can interfere with mineral balance when eaten frequently. Hair follicles rely heavily on minerals like zinc, iron, and magnesium. When absorption is disrupted, hair growth slows. Cashews also raise blood sugar more than most people expect. Blood sugar swings increase stress hormones, and those hormones signal the body to conserve energy. Hair growth is one of the first things to be scaled back. The third nut to limit is pine nuts. Pine nuts are small, but they are very concentrated. They can be hard on digestion for aging bodies and may cause subtle inflammatory responses when eaten often. In some women, they also interfere with appetite regulation, leading to irregular eating patterns. Irregular meals increase stress signals that affect hair follicles. Then there are flavored and roasted mixed nuts. This category causes more hair trouble than most people realize. Roasting at high temperatures damages healthy fats, and added flavorings often include salt, sugars, and additives that increase inflammation. Even if the base nuts are healthy, the processing changes how the body responds to them. Another common mistake is eating nuts late at night. Even supportive nuts can cause problems when eaten in the evening. After 50, digestion slows significantly at night. Heavy or fatty foods close to bedtime disrupt sleep quality. Poor sleep increases stress hormones and reduces repair signals needed for hair growth. I also want to address portion creep because this happens quietly. Nuts are easy to overeat. A small snack can quickly turn into several handfuls. Over time, this leads to excess calories, digestive strain, and mineral imbalance. Hair follicles respond to these stresses by reducing growth activity. Now here's something important to understand. None of these nuts are bad foods. The issue is context. After 50, the margin for error gets smaller. The body needs clarity, not overload. Foods that once caused no problem may now create subtle stress signals that show up as hair thinning months later. This is why timing and moderation matter so much. If you enjoy nuts, eat them earlier in the day. Pair them with protein or fiber. Keep portions small. Pay attention to how your body feels afterward. Hair health improves when the body feels calm, nourished, and well-regulated. In the next part, I'll bring everything together. I'll show you how to build a simple daily rhythm that supports hair regrowth, how to use nuts without fear, and what lifestyle habits quietly strengthen results over time. You're not doing anything wrong by wanting to eat healthy. You're just learning how to eat in a way that works with your body now. Let's bring this together in a practical way. By now, you understand which nuts can support hair regrowth after 50, which ones tend to increase hair fall when overused, and why timing matters so much more than it used to. Now, I want to focus on how to actually live with this information day to day without turning food into something stressful or restrictive. After 50, the body responds best to rhythm. Regular meals, predictable routines, and calm mornings send powerful safety signals to the nervous system. When the body feels safe, it invests energy into repair. Hair growth depends on that repair mode. This is why how you start your day matters more than almost anything else. Many women wake up already stressed. They rush, skip breakfast, drink coffee on an empty stomach, and grab nuts later in the day when energy crashes. From the body's perspective, that looks like instability. Stress hormones rise, digestion weakens, and hair follicles quietly shift into conservation mode. A better approach is gentler and simpler. Start the day with hydration. A glass of water after waking helps circulation and digestion. This improves nutrient delivery throughout the body, including the scalp. Hair follicles rely on steady blood flow, and even mild dehydration can slow that process. Breakfast should include protein, healthy fats, and fiber. This is the best time to include the supportive nuts we discussed. Almonds or walnuts work well here, either eaten alongside breakfast or added in a small amount. Morning digestion is stronger, and nutrients are more likely to reach the follicles instead of being stored or causing irritation. If you don't feel hungry first thing in the morning, that's okay, but try to eat within an hour or so of waking. Long fasting windows after 50 often increase stress hormones rather than improving balance. Those hormones directly interfere with hair growth cycles. Movement also plays a role that's often underestimated. You don't need intense exercise. Gentle movement is enough. A short walk, light stretching, or simple mobility work increases circulation to the scalp. This helps deliver nutrients from food to the hair roots. Movement also reduces stress hormones, which protects hair follicles from entering a resting phase. Now let's talk about the afternoon, because this is where many habits drift. Energy often dips after lunch, especially if meals are unbalanced. This is when many women reach for nuts as a quick snack. If you do this, keep portions very small and choose the nuts that support hair health. Avoid mindless snacking. Sit down, eat slowly, and pay attention to how you feel. Late afternoon or evening is not the ideal time for nuts, especially large amounts. Digestion slows, and sleep quality can suffer. Sleep disruption is one of the fastest ways to increase hair shedding after 50. Sleep deserves special attention here. Hair growth signals are released during deep, restorative sleep. When sleep is fragmented, delayed, or inconsistent, those signals weaken. Even small improvements in sleep timing and routine can noticeably affect hair over time. Going to bed at a similar time each night, keeping lights low in the evening, and avoiding heavy foods close to bedtime all support better sleep. This is not about strict rules. It's about giving your body predictable cues that it's time to rest and repair. Stress management is another quiet pillar of hair health. Chronic stress doesn't have to feel dramatic to be harmful. Ongoing worry, mental overload, and constant stimulation all raise hormones that reduce blood flow to the scalp. Many women push through stress without realizing how deeply it affects their bodies. Simple practices help. Morning sunlight, brief quiet moments, slow breathing, or time outdoors all reduce stress signals. When stress decreases, hair follicles receive clearer messages to grow instead of conserve. One more thing I want to emphasize is patience. Hair regrowth after 50 does not happen overnight. The first sign of improvement is usually less hair fall, not new growth. This is a good sign. It means the follicles are stabilizing. Over time, strength, thickness, and density can improve. Comparing yourself to others or constantly checking the mirror creates frustration, which adds stress. Focus instead on how your body feels overall. Energy, digestion, mood, and sleep often improve alongside hair health. In the next and final part, I'll talk about long-term balance, warning signs to watch for, and how to maintain results without constantly thinking about hair. This is about building a lifestyle that quietly supports you, not chasing perfection. Stay with me. You're doing this the right way. Let's finish this in a grounded, realistic way. At this point, you have a full picture of how food choices, especially nuts, timing, and daily habits influence hair health in women over 50. Now, the most important question becomes, how do you keep this working long-term without turning it into something exhausting or overwhelming? The answer is simplicity and awareness. Hair health after 50 is not built on extremes. It's built on steady signals of nourishment, calm, and balance. When the body senses consistency, it shifts out of survival mode and back into maintenance and repair. Hair follicles respond to that shift. One of the most helpful mindset changes is letting go of the idea that hair must look a certain way to be healthy. Strength, reduced shedding, scalp comfort, and resilience matter just as much as thickness. When those improve, appearance often follows naturally. Now let's talk about warning signs. If hair fall is sudden, severe, or accompanied by ongoing fatigue, dizziness, brittle nails, or changes in skin, that's a sign to look deeper. Hair often reflects underlying issues like mineral deficiencies, thyroid imbalance, or chronic inflammation. Adjusting food habits helps, but persistent symptoms deserve professional attention. Another warning sign is digestive discomfort. Bloating, heaviness, or discomfort after eating nuts suggests your body may need smaller portions or better timing. Hair health depends on absorption, not just intake. Listening to your digestion is an important part of the process. Now let's talk about maintaining results. You don't need to eat the same nuts every day. Rotation is helpful. Almonds one day, walnuts another, pistachios occasionally, and Brazil nuts sparingly. This prevents overload and supports balanced mineral intake. You also don't need to avoid the nuts that can increase hair fall forever. Awareness allows moderation. Small amounts eaten earlier in the day and not too often usually cause no issue. The problem arises when they become frequent mindless snacks. Lifestyle continues to matter just as much as food. Daily movement supports circulation. Sleep supports hormone balance. Stress reduction supports blood flow to the scalp. These factors quietly reinforce the benefits of better nutrition. One thing I encourage women over 50 to do is observe patterns instead of blaming themselves. Hair responds slowly. What you eat and how you live today influences what your hair does weeks or months from now. This doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means your body is methodical. When frustration shows up, it's usually a sign to simplify, not to add more rules. I also want to say this clearly: caring for your hair is not vanity. It's a form of self-respect. Hair health often reflects how well your body is supported overall. When you take small, steady steps to support yourself, confidence naturally follows. Many women notice that as their hair shedding decreases, other things improve too. Energy becomes steadier. Digestion feels calmer. Sleep deepens. Mood lifts. These changes are connected. The goal is not to control every variable. The goal is to create an environment where your body can do what it's designed to do. And finally, remember this: your hair is not turning against you. It's responding to signals. When you change those signals gently and consistently, your body listens. You don't need fear. You don't need perfection. You need patience, rhythm, and trust in your body's ability to adapt. Stay consistent, stay kind to yourself, and let improvement unfold naturally.